This isn't... No, of course, this isn't a spoiler. But so there are, you know, there are set twos. You have some tetchy moments and words, and obviously you kill him. But can we talk about the sex scene? It's one of the best sex scenes I've seen in forever. Oh. That sex scene. Who put that together? You know, seriously. No, it's not like they're kind of like prancing around naked. It's a really clever... Who put... Did you guys put that together? Did Ridley Scott put it together?
No, we had nothing to do with it.
No,
excuse me, I'm just trying to cover my universe over here.
And of course, it's not just you in it. Other screen legends, Jeremy Irons...
In the sex scene?
No, Jeremy is in it. Jeremy was particularly good. He was great.
He was behind the camera.
Why are you having sex? I want to know.
When we heard about Richard, we were promised it was going to be like this, you know, really raunchy sex scene. And I was watching it. I thought, where is the sex? But my God, once you pull the ripcord, it's non-stop.
There's a bit.
I mean, even you must have been kind of, you know, at the table read, you must have been going, blah, 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 blah. I haven't spoken for pages.
Well, I got my mouth full half the time. Which I was insisting on, because I think that's important to see on TV as well, because I think that is uncommon that you see that kind of power dynamic in raunchy scenes, and that's part of the way that we did want to modernise the show. So the Duke does have his mouth full, and he's proud of it. But yes, there was a fair bit to be done on the show.
Because you're really going for it, but you're going for it in kind of beautiful locations. I mean, like...
And occasionally very uncomfortable locations.
Well, yeah, those library steps didn't look easy.
Yeah, the chiropractor.
But didn't you have room monitors in the stately homes?
Well, this is the problem, because the set, as usual, is more valuable than any of the actors. So if you're in, like, you know, a 200-year-old bed or a 400-year-old four-poster, it has to have a minder. Like, you know, when people kind of bring very expensive jewellery around, they have to have a bodyguard for it. There's a bodyguard for the room. And so at all times, you know, you got this minimal set, everyone gets very quiet, very respectful, and you derobe and you hit the bed. And then there's also just like Fran in the corner, who's just standing there just kind of deciding whether or not to look. She's like, I have to look. I'm not allowed to look. I have to look. Could you please go easy on the bed? It's very, very old. It's not quite so enthusiastic. Oh, do go on. That's the inner monologue that I imagine is going on in the corner of the room.
Yeah, I'll stop them in a minute. And presumably you had to have the awkward kind of family conversation before.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we've got a family WhatsApp group, so there's a couple of, you know, flashing red light emojis and the odd peach emoji. Certain people have threatened to rate my peach. But we missed a couple of family members, and so people do enjoy the fact that, like, a couple of cousins missed the memo. And so they're watching the show, and I got a very stern message in my Instagram DMs, oddly enough, just going, there really needs to be a cousin warming. I had to make so many tactical cups of tea. And I left the room and made my tactical cup of tea and came back, and you were still going. So you had to start doing pots of tea. You know, you had to kind of keep building up the...
Three-course meal, a tasting menu, if you will.
Now, you've worked with Mr. Tucci, haven't you, Kate?
Yes, hello.
Hi, Kate.
Yeah, see, there he goes, gagging on his booze.
I know. I'm very happy to see you.
Very, very happy to see you too.
So, presumably, you've experienced Stanley's cooking.
No, I haven't experienced Stanley's cooking, which is a tragedy because clearly you're a marvellous chef. But Stanley, do you remember how much you complained when we worked together? He would come into work and he would say, after breakfast, half an hour later, he'd say, I'm starving. I mean, there's nothing to eat in England. I mean, what do you do? There's no food. I mean, this is awful. This is just awful. And then the next day, he came into work carrying this very sort of neat and tidy little cooler bag. Actually, it was quite a large cooler bag, to be fair. And it was full of these perfectly prepared little Tupperwares full of incredible delights. And everyone's like, oh, leaning in. Oh, Stanley. He's like, no.
Well, you have to eat well, don't you? When you're working.
You do have to eat well. I just want to throw in there at this point that I was, in fact, pregnant when we were...
No, I know that.
You didn't even feel pregnant.
No, I know, and I didn't know that, but you told me that on the set. She told me, she said, I can't remember what we were talking about, but you said, I'm pregnant. and she did that scream whisper, you know. And I said, oh, yes, I did wonder. Yes.
You look really fat.
awful.
You look really fat. Your boobs are huge, but you're still not having any of my snacks.
Yeah.
Even though you're eating for two.
Yeah.
You're eating for two. This Tupperware is sealed. Chris and Rosie, I mean, you are quite unfiltered on your podcast about your own.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, weirdly, we don't actually talk about us personally having sex because we have
It's only
found
happened
out...
twice. Bob and Rafe chopped it off.
But it's been 2 really powerful times.
Successful.
Yes, exactly.
Why do it again? It worked.
We found out that we're actually quite boring in
We're
the bedroom.
very boring.
Because of what people send us in. It's pure smut. It's disgusting.
The stuff people send
And
us.
we are really boring.
One of our first ones that we got sent that really struck a chord with everyone was some lady wrote in. I say lady. Wrote in. And she
Some
said...
slag wrote.
She said, because we said, you got any questions? And she wrote in and she said, I need some advice because and this was the phrasing, I'm giving my husband his first foursome this Wednesday.
Wow.
Whoa!
Our initial thought was, Wednesday?
It definitely sounds like a Saturday.
I knew we would get it. You can't have a foursome on a Wednesday.
On a Wednesday.
I suppose it's easier to park on a Wednesday.
That is true. It's easier to get childcare.
Yeah.
Maybe, right, OK.
Yeah, true that.
And if you're doing a foursome, you probably don't know what day it is anyway.
You've had people that we sadly missed along the way. You had the great Prince on your show.
I have a great Prince story. One time Prince is coming on the show and his manager calls and says, hey, Prince would love to play ping pong on the show. I go, okay, we'll get a ping pong table, no problem. So he comes on the show, never brings up ping pong, doesn't talk about it, never brings it up, doesn't even mention it. I go, whatever, he crushes, he's awesome, he's great, that's the end of that. And a month later, I'm at dinner, and I get a text, and I go, it says, hi, this is Prince's manager. Prince wants to meet you right now at a club called Spin in New York City. It's a nightclub, it's a ping pong nightclub.
Wow.
I go, what? So I go to my friend, I go, I gotta go. Prince wants to play me in ping pong. So he goes, what? I go, he wants to meet me on 23rd and 5th. I go, I gotta go. So I get in a cab, I go to this place, I go down the steps, downstairs, and I go, hi, I'm here to see, and the girl goes, Prince? I go, yeah. She goes, yeah, he's in the private room back there behind the curtain. I go, okay. So I go in, I open this curtain, and who's standing there? But Prince in a double-breasted, like crushed velvet suit, and he's holding a ping pong paddle, and he goes, "You ready for this?" And I go, "Yeah, this is so surreal. There's no one else in the room, just me and Prince." So I go, "Oh, I guess." I go. He goes, "Do you want to warm up?" I go, "It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not even good at ping pong, but I'll play with you." And he's like, "Here we go." And so he serves, and he gets the point, and he goes, "One zip." I go, "Oh, we're gonna talk smack? Here we go. Let's go, Prince. Let's go. Let's play." Now I'm like ready to play Prince. I'm like, let's go. So I'm trying to play back. I'm not good at ping pong. Long story long. He's crushing. So he's like, game point. I go, okay. And he hits this serve, and it's like, and it's one of those perfect ping pong. The things are spinning, flames are coming off the ball, and it's coming, and it hits that one corner of the ping pong table. You know that's impossible to hit back. And he hits the thing, and he goes. I go, oh my gosh, you won, let me go. So I look over to pick up the ball. I come back, and he's gone. He's gone. And I go, and I don't know him that well, so I'm like, Prince? And I go, is he hiding under the table? So I'm like, Prince? Or is he, it was so weird. I go, and I walk out, and there's like a velvet rope, and it was kind of swinging back and forth a little bit. It's almost like Batman was there or something. And then Questlove, who's our band leader here, you know, from the Roots, heard about this ping pong game and took a cab over it, and he actually saw Prince's limo outside, and he went up to it, and he goes, wait, did you guys already play? What happened? And Prince rolled his window down, and he goes, ask your boy. And then they just peeled off, and then I never saw him again. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I love that you're kind of in a ping-pong basement like you're calling a dog. Just going, Prince, Prince. Prince.
I didn't know. I didn't know if he was hiding or whatever. It was bizarre, bizarre.
You know how hard it is to be that mean to Harry Melling? He is like the sweetest individual in the world.
Because, yes, he played Harry, but his name's Harry Melling. And you, I mean, that was exciting for you to do a scene with Harry Melling.
Small bit? Like,
Yeah.
big bit? Yeah.
Harry Melling was her Rihanna. Yeah. No, tell us why he meant so much to you.
Well, I learnt to speak English reading the Harry Potter books. So as lame as it sounds, those characters really were my first friends. So still a big fan of the Harry Potter franchise, love the movies. Oh my God, look at him!
He played Dudley Dursley. I mean, he's not an obvious one. Presumably people don't come up to him all the time.
He's still part of the universe!
So what language were you speaking when you learnt to speak English through Harry Potter?
Spanish.
Oh, OK. And
Yeah,
so,
I'm Argentine.
So when did you come to London?
When I was 6, but I only learnt English when I was 8, because I was convinced that if I didn't speak the language, my parents would have to take me home. And that failed miserably. So, yeah, had to learn.
Now, weirdly, we have sort of met.
We have kind of met, yeah. Not on the show. This is my first time on. I'm a little nervous, so forgive me if I ramble. But I was doing a Broadway show called Hedwig and the Angry Inch. And I had heard that you were going to be in the audience. And it was this really nasty kind of rock and roll, punk rock musical. And you had sat in the very, very front row, if I'm not mistaken.
In the middle. In the middle of the row. I didn't book these tickets.
Now, and you were with 2 other guys, and during the show, there's a part where, where Hedwig, who's pretty randy and nasty, there's a good picture of her. She crawls down to the stage and just picks someone in the audience and makes out with them. So I started down. I scanned the crowd. I saw you. I went right for you, and I grammed my tongue down your throat. It was great.
I had the taste of cheap lipstick in my mouth for the rest of the show.
So nice to meet you on this second date.
Nice to talk to you, finally. I was particularly pleased that the first story you ever told on the show, about 20 years ago, is in the book. It's the one where you park on a double yellow line for a few moments. Do you know the story I mean?
Oh, yes, yes. Well, that had its repercussions, of course, because, well, I mean, I parked on a double yellow line in Shaftesbury Avenue. It was the day of the state opening of Parliament, and I rushed up to give an audio tape, because, you know, I do audio tapes, to my agent, and I came downstairs. There was a policeman pasting a parking ticket on my windscreen, and I was just furious because I'd only been there for a minute. And so, you know, I tore it off the windscreen and I said, "You've got a dick that small." Because I thought the best thing is to insult him as quickly as possible.
Of course.
And he took umbrage, didn't like it, and he arrested me for breach of the peace and parking on a double yellow line. And then he called for help from other policemen, and there were lots about because it was the state opening of Parliament and, you know, they're mingling around. And so I was taken in a police car to Bow Street Police Station. And there I was arraigned, and they said, empty your handbag. And I had a few things in my handbag, and one of them was a packet of peppermints. But they're wrapped in silver paper, you see, and that the detective in charge thought that it was drugs. And he said, you know, what have we got here, then? That's interesting. And I said, it's just a packet of peppermints, officer. And he said, no, I think we better check you out, matron. And he got the matron to come and put me in a room, privately. And I knew, because I was sharp, that she was going to give me an internal examination. I just knew that. Nothing had been said, but I knew it. So when she locked the door, she went out for a bit, I took all my clothes off immediately. Well, you would, you know, if you know you're going to be examined. And she came back in and she said, You've been here before. I said, I have not been here before. She said, yes, you have. How did you know to take your clothes off? And I said, well, I know you're going to examine me, aren't you? They called you matron, so I knew something was afoot. She said, anyway, bend down or lie on the couch or something, and she examined me, my front body and my back body. And, of course, they thought I wouldn't like it.
I heard you talking somewhere today how your height difference makes those stunts more complicated.
Thank you, Graham.
I didn't say it. Zendaya said it.
No, that is a good story.
It's a good story. Well, you see, there's a particular stunt. I don't know if it's in this, but there's a, you know, Spider-Man swings us on top of a bridge, and he places me there.
Oh, there you
and
are.
that's the bridge.
Yeah, that's the bridge.
We eventually jump off of that. I was
Great.
screaming. Yeah. So he's supposed to gently, you know, rest MJ on the bridge and walk away from her. Because of our height difference, I obviously, if we're on the same, like, point...
Yeah, we were attached, weren't we?
We were attached. I would land before him, because my feet obviously hit the ground before he does. So... what would happen?
Well, it's called a bottom mark, isn't it? And the bottom mark is to basically... It's a thing that they do in stunts that is basically designed to stop you shattering your kneecaps.
Oh, yeah.
So Zendaya would land, and I'm the superhero. I'm supposed to look cool. And she would land, and then I would sort of land like this, and my feet would swing from underneath me, and then she would catch me. And they'd be like, cut! I'm like, oh, I'm not doing that.
But you were actually very, very lovely about it. You were like, oh, my gosh, thank you.
It's so nice to be caught for a change.